Hi and welcome. This is a presentation to help educate you about stress and what it does to your body, how to recognize stress and what actions to take next. So sit back, grab yourself a brew, a cup of tea, coffee, glass of water, whatever you'd like, and just sit back and take in all the information that you need. Okay, so what is stress? Stress is the body's reaction to any change that requires an adjustment or response. The body reacts to these changes with physical, mental, and emotional responses. Stress is a normal part of life. You can experience stress from your environment, your body, and your thoughts. Okay, so stress isn't a psychiatric diagnosis, but it's closely linked to your mental health in two important ways. So, stress can cause mental health problems and make existing problems worse. For example, if you often struggle to manage feelings of stress, you might develop a mental health problem like anxiety or depression. Mental health problems can cause stress, and you might find that coping with day to day symptoms of your mental health problem, as well as potentially needing to manage medication, healthcare appointments, or treatments. And this can also become extra sources of stress. So these are the top, really the top things that can trigger stress. So the top triggers at the moment. So we've got death of a loved one, moving house, divorce, getting married, loss of a job, emotional problems and mental health, chronic illness or injury, an increase in financial responsibility. So, causes of stress. Feelings of stress are normally triggered by things happening in your life, which involve being under lots of pressure. And this could be work pressure, this could be pressures that you've got at home, pressures with your own business, being faced with big changes, worrying about something, not having much or any control over the outcome of a situation, having responsibilities that you're finding overwhelming, not having enough work or activities or change in your life, and sometimes times of uncertainty. So there might be one big thing causing you stress, but stress can also be caused by a buildup of lots of small pressures, and this might make it harder for you to identify what is actually making you feel stressed. So, what does stress do to your body? So, when you're stressed, your body believes it's under attack and switches to what's known as flight or fight mode. As a result of this, there are a mix of hormones and chemicals that are released into your body so that you can prepare for physical action. Blood is also diverted to all your muscles, so all your limbs, causing you to lose concentration or become less able to digest food. When the threat passes, your body usually returns to normal. But if you're continually under this pressure, this might not be the case. So the stress response is a natural response where you've got all that adrenaline being pumped through your body, into your legs, into your limbs, ready for that flight or fight mode. Um, and when that happens, of course, that is when your digestive system is basically it's cut off, it's diverted to allow your body to do what it needs to do for the stress response. So let's look at some stress hormones. We have got adrenaline. This is one of the main stress hormones. What is it? It's commonly known as the fight or flight hormone. It's produced by the adrenal glands after receiving a message from the brain that a stressful situation has presented itself. Then we've got a hormone that's similar to adrenaline, and it's also released from the adrenal glands and also from the brain. The primary role is like adrenaline, is arousal. And then we have the cortisol hormone, which is a steroid hormone, commonly known as the stress hormone. It's produced by the adrenal glands and it takes a little more time, minutes rather than seconds, for you to feel the effects of cortisol in the face of stress, because the release of this hormone takes a multi-step process involving two additional minor hormones. So once the adrenal gland has released the cortisol, that is then when our body is naturally trying to calm down, to slow down, because the threat will have passed and the body needs to become rebalanced again. So 3 stages of stress. This part of the presentation really I've put together so that you can have a look at this, because this, you may be watching this because you feel stressed, or you know of a colleague that perhaps feels stressed, or even a friend. But we have what's called stage 1, which is the alarm stage, stressed and wired. And this is when your levels of cortisols become elevated, as well as your DHEA. It's a temporary reaction and it will stop when the stressful situation or the threat has passed. And one of the first signs of stress is a panic attack. So it can be recognized by a panic attack. And stressed and wired symptoms include feeling low, low self-esteem, anxious, irritable, nervous, and very short-tempered, and headaches. Then we've got stage 2, which is resistance. This is when we become wired and tired. So we have bouts of energy, and then all of a sudden we're really tired. So this is when your cortisol levels, they still remain elevated whilst the DHEA decreases below normal. Now, symptoms include weight gain or even weight loss, increased smoking, alcohol, perhaps caffeine as well. So we're increasing those bad habits, we're developing those. We're surviving, we're not thriving. We're probably suffering from high blood pressure, obesity, increased hyper and wired, but feeling very tired at the same time. Quite often you can experience increased sex drive and of course sleep problems. So your quality of sleep will be greatly affected when you're experiencing stage 2 resistance. Then we have stage 3 exhaustion. This is burnout, this is stress, this is tired. This is usually the stage when you are signed off work. So stage 3, exhaustion, which is when your output of cortisol and DHEA is below normal now. Stressed and tired symptoms, burnout, tired all the time, just can't cope. Feelings of giving up, that impending doom. We can suffer skin conditions such as psoriasis and eczema, low blood pressure, low libido. It's time to sign off work. And quite often, doctors will medicate at this stage. Okay, so I've mentioned DHEA and cortisol. What are they? So DHEA is a hormone produced also by your body's adrenal glands, and these glands are located just above your kidneys, and it functions also as the male and female sex hormones. And also we've got our cortisol, which is a steroid hormone that regulates a wide range of processes throughout the body, including your metabolism and the immune response. It also has a very important role in helping the body respond to stress. So if you think about that, when you're faced with stress long term, This is when you're feeling tired and your immune response is lower. And this is when you're likely to develop more colds, flu, and your body starts to ache. So it all goes hand in hand. So, how stress and anxiety affects your body. This is a diagram really so that you can have a look at what happens to the brain. So, it can be very difficult in concentrating, worrying more with anxiety, depression, irritable mood swings, and mind fog. In fact, many of my clients have often told me they really struggle to make decisions when at this stage. We've got cardiovascular, which is higher cholesterol, high blood pressure, which then in turn gives you that increased risk of heart attack and stroke. Got your joints and muscles, which is increased inflammation, tension, aches, and pains. And you will also most likely suffer from muscle tightness as well. And I have a client at the moment who is also suffering from restless leg syndrome. We have immune system. So this is decreased immune function and lowering immune defenses, increased risk of becoming ill, as I've said earlier, and increase in recovery time because it simply takes the body much longer to repair itself due to lack of quality sleep. And then we have the skin, so hair loss, suffering from hair loss, dull or even brittle hair, brittle nails, dry skin, acne, and delayed tissue repair. Gut. The gut suffers through nutrient absorption. You may suffer diarrhea, constipation, indigestion, bloating, pain, and discomfort. And we have the reproductive system, which is greatly affected with decreased hormone production, decrease in libido, and increase in PMS symptoms. Okay, so there are some stress assessments that I have access to, and that is the DASS, I call it the DASS questionnaire, which is Depression, Anxiety, Stress Scale. And this is something that I send all my clients before I start working with you, just so that we can measure your current levels of depression, anxiety, and stress. It's a really simple questionnaire to go through, but it does allow us to see exactly where you're at right now. And then we've got the home stress scale. This is a good one that was devised in 1967 to determine in advance what stressful events might cause illness, such as moving house and divorce and all of those events that we discussed earlier in the presentation. There are functional tests as well that are offered through private labs using non-invasive saliva tests that actually evaluate your bioactive levels of the body's most important stress hormones. So it's testing the function of your cortisol and your DHEA levels. And then you have your Raglan test. This is a test that you can do yourself actually at home with a blood pressure, or you can ask your doctor to do it for you. It is something that's really easy to do, and you first of all you take your blood pressure when you're lying down, and then you take it again immediately after standing up. And what this does is it tests your blood pressure and it lets you know whether you have a healthy adrenal function. Okay, so let's look at some tips on how we can manage stress. We can split up the big tasks that we're currently facing. So if a task seems overwhelming and difficult to start, you can try breaking that down and give yourself credit for completing them. Allow yourself some positivity. So change your mindset. Mindset is massive when it comes to all things about mental health, because it's time to think about the good things in the life. Focus on what you do have, not what you don't have. Practice gratitude every day. Consider what went well. Listing those three things that you're grateful for. And perhaps you could learn to meditate or ground yourself, listen to some music, listen to some podcasts that are inspiring, and practice those breathing exercises. You can challenge and reframe unhelpful thoughts, because the way we think affects the way that we feel, and that in turn affects the way that we take action on a daily basis. So we need to reframe the way that we think and challenge any beliefs that may be limiting us. Become more active. One of the first things I do when working with stress and anxiety, and also depression as well, is to suggest more time outside. And that could be taking a gentle walk, it could be taking a stroll with a friend, it could be taking the dog out for a walk. Just simple things like that can really help burn off nervous energy. And also, just by being outside in nature, instantly makes you feel better and helps those happy hormones, such as your serotonin, to make you feel happy again. So it doesn't make your stress disappear, but it can make it less intense, and it can absolutely help manage it. So talk to someone, your trusted friends, family, colleagues, or contact a life coach who can help when you're struggling. Plan ahead. So, planning out any upcoming stressful days or events by doing to do lists, thinking about the journeys that you need to do, anything you need to take. This can really help by planning in advance, and it can give you back some control. So, sleep. Now, sleep is a powerful stress reducer. Following a regular sleep routine calms and restores the body. It improves concentration, regulates mood, and sharpens judgment and decision making. You are a better problem solver, and you are better able to cope with stress when you feel well rested. So, it's not often about how many hours of sleep you're getting, because that could be interrupted. You may not be sleeping all the way through. So it's important that you get that quality sleep. And one of the ways that my clients will measure that is they'll quite often have a smartwatch which will it will register all the sleep patterns that they're doing, so that they can evaluate that on a weekly basis. Caffeine. Caffeine and stress can both elevate cortisol levels. So, high amounts of caffeine can lead to negative health effects associated with prolonged elevated levels of cortisol. However, small to moderate amounts of caffeine can lift your mood and also give you a boost. So, we'll look at how much caffeine that you're drinking, whether that's in coffee or fizzy drinks, and we'll just check that you're having the right amount, not too much. Alcohol. Alcohol is a big one. I quite often find that stressed clients are having perhaps that 1 or 2 to 3 glasses on a night, and that actually, it doesn't do you any good whatsoever when you're experiencing stress and anxiety, because the alcohol changes the level of serotonin and other neurotransmitters in the brain, which actually can worsen anxiety. In fact, you've probably noticed this, but you'll feel more anxious after the alcohol wears off, especially first thing in the morning when you wake up. You're probably thinking more about what you've got to do, and that in turn is feeding the anxiety and the stress. And that can last for several hours, and it just becomes exhausting. And it can even last for an entire day after drinking. And then what happens? We then reach for the alcohol again, because it makes us feel better, because it acts as a suppressant. So it suppresses those feelings to begin with, but the effects, the after effects, it's just not worth it. So we need to be able to break that cycle. And tobacco. So, research into smoking and stress has shown that instead of helping people to relax, again, smoking actually increases stress and anxiety and tension. So, we need to cut that down. Exercise, as I've mentioned earlier, it reduces the levels of the body's stress hormones, such as the adrenaline and cortisol, And it also stimulates the production of endorphins, chemicals in the brain that are the body's natural painkillers and mood elevators. Diet. A healthy diet can help counter the impact of stress, and that helps with the immune system, therefore lowering the blood pressure. Eating a balanced and healthy diet is key to helping our bodies to manage the physiological changes caused by stress. And maybe you've heard of gut health and how the gut does actually have a brain that communicates via the vagus nerve to the brain, and these signal to each other. So it really is important that what you eat has an impact on the way that we're feeling on a daily basis. What treatment is available for stress? I've just mentioned a few here. There are so many, but your common ones such as talking therapies, CBT, that's a popular one on the NHS that quite often is offered to people with mental health problems, and that can help talking with a trained professional because it can help you learn to deal with stress and you can become aware of your own thoughts and feelings. You have medication. Now, feelings of stress are a reaction to things happening in your life. There is no specific medication for stress. However, there are various medications available which can help reduce or manage some of the signs of stress, such as sleeping pills or antidepressants. Now, I do check as well what medication you're currently on, because quite often I'll find with my clients the medication ends up getting greatly reduced or even they come off them. But please note, there is nothing wrong on being with medication. It's just that obviously it's better for us if we're not on it, but I'm not a doctor. So always seek medical advice before you come and work with myself. But one of the main aims will be to help you to reduce or even come off medication for stress or anxiety. And then we have CAM coaching, which is complementary alternative medicine and mindfulness. And this is exactly what I do. So, by working with a coach, you can develop your emotional resilience so you're better able to cope. So often, it's not the event itself that's stressful, but our reaction to it. If you find the right coach, they'll be able to help you to deal with your anxiety or stress and find you again by dealing with that root cause. Stress management coaching helps you to evaluate your life across several different areas: your work, your home, your emotional, physical well-being, and to develop positive coping strategies, as well as using modern psychotherapy such as neuro-linguistic programming, clinical hypnotherapy, and mindfulness to help combat and manage stress. So that is the main ones really that we would use for stress, for the treatment of stress. Okay, so here is an instant stress reliever, and you can use this one to control stress and anxiety straight away. And it's very relaxing because when you're stressed, your body is unbalanced. And the first thing we need to do is rebalance you by calming down the immune system and also by restoring the levels of oxygen that you will have in your body and slowing that heart rate down. And once you've learnt this breathing technique, it's literally impossible for a panic attack to break through. So what you would do is you would put yourself into a lovely, comfortable position. You may close your eyes if you wish to, and you would breathe in deeply through the nose. And as you do this, you would allow your lungs to completely fill up with air, and you would hold for the mental count of 3. So you'd breathe in through the nose, hold for 3, and exhale Exhale through the mouth, really important. And the out breath must be longer than the in breath. So the out breath, you would breathe out for the mental count of 5. So breathing in through the nose for 3. And again. And you're going to keep on doing that until you can physically feel that heart rate slow right down. And you may become a little woozy or a little bit dizzy. That's okay. It just means that you have managed to completely calm yourself down. And once you've done that, you can open your eyes and come back into the room again. You will instantly feel much, much better. So, what's next? If you've enjoyed that little presentation, really, to understand what stress is, how to identify stress, and some basic recommendations to help relieve stress, you can book in a free consultation with me and decide if this is something that you want to work through me with. Because I would be your coach, I'd help facilitate that change and help you pinpoint your triggers. We'd locate the areas in your life where changes are needed, teach you techniques as well to manage stress and anxiety. We'd change your mindset as well, set meaningful goals by planning a way forwards, having that clear direction, using again those modern psychotherapy such as clinical hypnotherapy and neuro-linguistic programming. And we're going to use that to help reprogram your mind and really deal with root causes and just help you become that best version of you again. So you're able to book in that free consultation with me by going to my website, which is www.haleyostincoaching.com, and just click on any of the book now buttons and you will see that you can click on the 30-minute free consultation. All my coaching is conducted online, so you can talk to me in the safety of your own home or your own office. And I really, really look forward to speaking with you. So there we go. Just again, there's my website, haleyostincoaching.com. So thank you very much for watching this presentation. If you need any of this information on slides, because maybe you're watching this for a friend, just drop me an email. I'll gladly send this as a PDF through to you, or you can simply just copy the YouTube link and send that out as well. So thank you very much. Just contact me if you need any more questions, and I really look forward to meeting you. Take care.